Robot Club is a one-stop STEAM robotics coding learning center in Malaysia. We provide robotics education to students from ages 6 to 16. We adopted Korea and use a robotics teaching module. It is carefully crafted to fit the students' needs in Malaysia. Robot Club is certified by Digital Maker Hub and MYDIGITALMAKER since 2018. Since 2018, our annual national robotics competition are recognized by the Ministry of Education, which is known as STEAM Cup Malaysia. Our headquarters is located at Emporis Kota Damansara. We provide a nurturing, stimulating, and safe environment for our students, facilitated with PC, equipment, 3D printing, and maker lab. As for today, we have more than 30 Robot Club learning centers throughout Malaysia. We educate our students not only through assembling robots, but we focus on practical use of mechanical parts, programming learning, and project management. We emphasize students' growth to ensure the technology we educate them could be beneficial and help them to achieve success in their future.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you for returning for the day 2 of My Digital Maker Fair 2022 at East Malaysia. We are extremely happy to see many of you who are tuning in live today to catch this very special session I'm about to have. It's great that many of you are making great use of your Saturday morning to be with us today. For those catching this later, thank you for having the curiosity to learn. By definition, the BBC Microbit is a pocket-sized computer that introduces you to how software and hardware work together. It has an LED light display, buttons, sensors, and many input-output features that, when programmed, let it interact with you and your world. Now that sounds like a lot of fun. I have 2 of my very special guests today joining me, and they are no strangers to Microbit. In fact, they are subject matter experts when it comes to this. Warm welcome and good morning. Selamat pagi. Apa khabar?
Baik, baik.
Hai, selamat pagi.
Good morning, good morning. Now, before I let the both of my guest speakers speak further, I would like to introduce everyone to Associate Professor Technologist Dr. Ruzlani Goni. She is from the Department of Electrical and Automation, Faculty of Engineering Technology of University College Tati, based out in Kemaman, Terengganu. I love the stuffed crab there, by the way, Doctor. What has really caught my attention, besides a very impressive list of credentials and roles she plays in is one where it says Microbit Educational Foundation Malaysia Community Lead. Now, what is that? We'll come back to that in a short while. Encik Muhammad Azrul Cik Mustafa pula merupakan seorang guru sains komputer di MRSM Merbok Kedah. Beliau sudah berkhidmat di sana selama 15 tahun. Baru-baru ini, beliau juga memenangi anugerah pendidik cemerlang MARA, suatu kejayaan yang semestinya bermakna kepada Cikgu Azrul. Cikgu Azrul juga merupakan seorang Microbit Community Lead, sama seperti Dr. Ruzlani. Jadi, pagi ini memang sah tetamu yang dijemput memang mempunyai kredibiliti untuk memberikan perkongsian dan latar belakang program dan inisiatif sedia ada daripada Microbit. Doctor, perhaps I'll begin with you. How did you get involved with Microbit? Dan mungkin selepas doktor, Cikgu Azrul pula boleh berkongsi juga bagaimana cikgu juga terlibat dengan Microbit. Silakan.
Okay, thanks so much, Andrew. Before I start, I would like to thanks to My Digital Maker Fair 2022 for East Malaysia, hosted by Synapse, for inviting both of us in this great session, sharing session. So, to answer your question, how do I get involved with this Microbit? I was introduced with Microbit on 2017 by Ira Syndrome Berhad. So at first, I find this Microbit comes in a very tiny size of a microcontroller, and it's easy to access, and it's easy for the students and teachers, even if you don't have any knowledge on these Microbit things, to learn, and most of all, it is affordable. So that is when I was introduced with this Microbit, and I interested with these Microbit things, and I involved with so many activities promoting Microbits around Kemaman, specifically to introduce to the students, to introduce to teachers that coding can be made easy. And as of that, after that, I've come up with a book, Kreatif Bersama Microbit, if you can see, all right? Kreatif Bersama Microbit, yes. Published with Dewan Bahasa dan Pustaka. Why I came out with this book? Because I found that the main barrier, obstacle to these rural students is learning coding in English. So that's why I came out with this book written in Malay. And after that, there is this pioneer application opened by Microbit Educational Foundation for those who interested in becoming the pioneer Microbit champion for 2021, right? Cikgu Azrul, 2021, if I'm not mistaken. And then we have to submit our application with the proving what we have been doing all this while with Microbits. And Alhamdulillah, I've been selected as Microbit champion. Okay.
We will come back to being a Microbit champion in a short while, Doctor. Right. Cikgu Azrul, bagaimana pula dengan Cikgu Azrul?
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat pagi. Untuk saya mula berjumpa ataupun mengenali Microbit ni bukan dekat Malaysia. Saya perlu terbang jauh ke benua satu lagi, ke Europe untuk belajar ni. Saya mula mengenali Microbit ni sewaktu saya mengikuti Microsoft Education Exchange itu di Paris pada 2019. Masa tu saya masih blur, tak tahu lagi lah apa benda itu Microbit. Jadi di sana kita ada kelas bersama CEO Microbit sendiri, iaitu Mr. Garrett. Di situlah saya berkenalan dengan Microbit, dan bila kita try guna, dia lebih menarik. Dan saya dapat 4 set Microbit untuk dibawa pulang ke Malaysia. Saya minta dengan CEO lah. Sepatutnya dia bagi 1 je seorang. Tapi saya kata boleh lah. Minta 4 boleh lah guna untuk belajar. Jadi dia, okey dia bagi. Lepas tu balik tu saya cuba. Dan terutama sekali macam saya ajar coding. Macam saya nak ajar coding mengenai repeat, ataupun looping. Jadi bila kita guna microbit tu dia boleh nampak macam mana pergerakan dia. Contohnya kita nak gerakkan servo, jadi dia nampak lah. Oh macam ni rupanya bentuk yang sebenar. Jadi kalau kita guna komputer yang macam animation saja tu boleh. Cuma dia cuma nampak sekadar di komputer je lah. Lalu bila kita guna yang sebenar ni dia lebih nampak lah bila servo tu bergerak, bila LED tu menyala. Oh dia nampak, oh LED menyala, berjaya. Lebih kurang macam itulah. Dan sound, bila kita masukkan sound dia boleh dengar lah muzik-muzik macam tu lah.
Betul.
Okay, lepas tu pada 2019 juga Persatuan Guru STEM Malaysia menganjurkan bengkel Arduino dan microbit dekat UPM. Masa tu pun alhamdulillah saya masuk, dan juga di situ saya berkesempatan untuk berjumpa dengan saudara waris iaitu Head of APEC pada masa tu. Jadi di situlah kita bertukar-tukar fikiran macam mana untuk mengajar pelajar. Lepas tu sejak daripada situ untuk coding, bila masuk bab coding, kalau form 1 untuk chapter 4 tu, bila dah masuk coding saya switch lah di antara app yang diberi dengan microbit. Jadi pelajar boleh nampak lah dua-dua app tu. Ada setengah tu. Okey, satu lagi bila PKP hari tu, disebabkan microbit kita boleh guna secara web based dan kita boleh nampak dia punya hasil dia. Jadi pada PDPR hari tu memang saya guna complete lah microbit untuk ajar pelajar. Itu saja untuk.
Oh, seronok sekali. Jadi saya boleh saya disimpulkan di sini memang cikgu sendiri yang perlu aktif dan agresif dari segi nak dapatkan anak-anak murid ni memupuk minat dalam microbit. Memang penting yang tu cikgu.
Ya. Kita kena explore dulu. Lepas tu barulah kita akan adjust dengan pelajar. Yang ni kita boleh guna macam ni, kita boleh guna macam ni. Selain daripada program yang sedia ada yang diberikan lah.
Bagi yang sedang menonton dan mungkin tidak kenal Pak Waris tadi yang Cikgu Azrul ceritakan tadi merupakan seorang I would call him a change maker in the education industry, and he is a big proponent in terms of getting microbit into the country and getting students and teachers to adopt into using microbit. So he's the real force behind getting obviously the teachers and whatnot to be trained and to be able to then communicate with the students in terms of using the microbit and all that. So that's very great. Thank you, Cikgu Azrul. Saya difahamkan microbit kian popular di kalangan murid dan juga komuniti tenaga pengajar di Malaysia. Okay, yang tu tidak dapat dinafikan. Boleh Cikgu Azrul kongsikan program atau projek yang sering dilakukan, tidak kisah berskala kecil atau berskala besar ataupun berskala daerah saja, sekolah saja, ataupun di seluruh negeri dan sebagainya, dan juga nationwide. Dan mungkin boleh menambah sedikit dari situ, saya apa manfaat kalau cikgu-cikgu di sekolah lain ingin menjalankan projek microbit contohnya?
Yes, baiklah. Untuk program-program microbit, saya ada yang pertama sekali kita utamakan kelas kita dululah. Okay, dalam kelas saya macam saya bagi tahu tadi, kita cuba collaborate dengan subjek-subjek ataupun dalam silibus saya ni, apa yang kita boleh masukkan elemen microbit tu. Okay, contohnya yang macam tadi bab 4 kita ada coding. Jadi saya masukkanlah sedikit coding microbit tu ke dalam program tu, dan juga macam algoritma kan, bila kita buat algoritma tu kita dah buat lepas ni apa, jadi kita tengok apa bentuk yang sebenar. Okey, untuk PDPR juga yang tahun lepas memang saya guna 100% microbit. Sebabnya bila kita guna maklumat tu kita boleh guna dalam phone. Jadi pelajar-pelajar yang kebanyakan pelajar saya dia tak ada komputer, jadi dia ada phone saja. Jadi kita guna phone lah untuk cuba, dan lebih menarik lah. Dan juga pelajar juga saya galakkan untuk projek dia, dia menghantar ke Do Your Bit Challenge tu. Bila dia dah siap, contohnya kita buat, okay, untuk minggu ni kita buat sound. Okay, apa yang kita boleh tambah-tambah lagi? Okay, lebih kurang macam tu lah. Okay, saya juga terlibat bersama Kedah Digital Center. Untuk minggu depan 1 bulan 11 saya akan ke SK Bandar Putrajaya bersama dengan My Digital Fair Utara.
Hebat.
Jadi insyaAllah kalau mana-mana pelajar yang ada di sekitar tu mungkinlah boleh masuk. Okay. Saya juga terlibat dengan Saitron. Saitron banyak menganjurkan webinar dan saya juga terlibat sebagai untuk penceramah lah untuk program-program Saitron, dan menarik sebab kita boleh pancar secara worldwide dan juga
Betul.
dalam YouTube lah. Okay, untuk microbit live juga saya terlibat dalam microbit live 2021 itu sebagai AJK untuk membantu microbit untuk memperkenalkan lagi microbit ke seluruh dunia. Dan juga kalau siapa-siapa yang masuk tahun lepas, kita ada booth saya ada dalam tu. Saya rasa doktor pun ada booth dalam tu. Jadi kita dan juga kita guna bahasa Melayu sahaja sebab kita nak tengok supaya orang luar boleh tengok juga bahasa kita, dan juga adalah dalam bahasa Inggeris pun ada, bahasa Melayu pun ada. Jadi salah satu daripada cara untuk kita memperkenalkan lagi microbit, bukan setakat microbit tapi dia punya pengaturcaraan untuk membantu pelajar-pelajar tak kisah di Malaysia ataupun di seluruh dunia untuk belajar mendalami sedikit sebanyak mengenai robotik. Itulah yang program antara program yang saya dah buat, dan juga saya juga ada YouTube yang saya dah kongsi dalam website. Kalau siapa-siapa yang dah masuk website yang sekarang ni daripada East ni, ada dekat situ tutorial, kita boleh cubalah nanti.
Terbaik, Cikgu. Jadi bagi yang menonton juga selepas ini, My Digital Maker akan tapak di zon utara juga ya, dan Cikgu Azrul semestinya ada aktiviti yang telah disediakan bersama dengan Kedah Digital Center. Jadi ikuti laman Facebook My Digital Maker. Di sana akan terdapat pelbagai agenda dan juga jadual dan sebagainya bagi zon-zon yang akan berlaku selepas ini juga. Doctor, what about you? Could you share some of the activities you've been running or even assisting that involves microbit? I know in your list you've got a ton of things. You also help out in robotics competitions. You become a judge, you become a lead. Many things, right? But today we are very focused on microbit. What have you been doing? Because unlike Cikgu Azrul, you are not a high school teacher. You're obviously a university associate professor, and I just want to know as well, and perhaps as someone who is not involved hands-on with microbit, I would also like to understand, is microbit something just for the kids, or is it something that is readily usable for adults as well, or in your case for youths in university?
Right. Okay. Thanks again, Andrew. So as I mentioned that I've been introduced with microbit from 2017. So before we go to schools promoting and assisting teachers and students, what we did is we tried ourselves with the microbit. At that time, it's microbit 1.0. So we did explore with various of things in using the microbit. The best thing is that microbit, we don't have to go with physical. That is what I am so encouraging all the students after we explored on that one. We can only explore using the MakeCode simulation that we have on the web. And you can see the product, the output as what you did the coding, and you can straight away see through the MakeCode editor. So that is when I realized that I need to go to bring this forward to the student, especially my target. My purpose is always focusing on the rural students, as we live here in Kemaman. We are not categorized as urban area. So after that, before the PKP, I think starting from 2018, we actively going from school to school, from primary school to secondary school, doing so many activities, and I myself went to taught the student about the microbit. Okay, at first we have done so many experiments along the way. One of it is first I started with the students age 8 years old, primary school student, 8 years old, with the intention to look whether this is accessible to the student as young as 8 years old. So I thought at first the session is like from 10 to 1 a.m. So 1 p.m. sorry, and then I thought, okay, I do need more times to make the student learn more on microbit. Surprisingly, this student just took 1 hour for them to explore and completely ignoring me in the class. I mean, after I taught them, okay, this is why, and when we came to the music, using the sound, the music of the microbit, and this student like ignoring me and starting to explore. So I was like 1 hour, and you guys have becoming like this. And I got one of the feedback from the parents at that time. She said that she's been listening to various kind of music, creepy music whatsoever from her kid's room, and when she picked in, what happened is his son was exploring the microbit using the sound making whatsoever, and that's number one. Number two, the experiment that we did is, can microbit be adopted to OKU students, disability students? We have at that time, we go to this particular secondary school with disability students, autism, slow learner, and various kind of students. And we quite nervous at that time because we have to handle different capacities of the student. Surprisingly, the student is focused, especially the autism students. I was told by the teacher that the autism student, you have to really catch their attention for them to really look into whatever you are teaching. And we have this slow learner student, and we have this autism students. Surprisingly, these students, less than 1 hour, he can do whatever he wants. And the teacher told me, you know what, doctor? During our class, the student came into the class and slept. And we are so surprised that this student focused till the end. And they created, we provided a task for them, a better robot, better robot for them, and they compete among them. And there was like, they're so happy, and some of them come to me, teacher, I want to learn again. I think that's the memorable experience I had in my mind up to this day. And then beside that, I'm still actively involved with the school whenever they have this competition. Reach to me to get the helps in any way, in technical or in programming. And I do as well as what Cikgu Azrul have the sharing session with Citron, with Elvira, with Jazro. So everybody can reach us around the world through these technologies, web technologies, online technologies, whatsoever. So I think there is more towards it in microbit itself.
I think it's fantastic that the community comes together and leave such a positive impact for the community, especially. And I know it's very close to your heart. We will speak about it a little more as well later on. But it's fantastic what you're doing, Doctor. So thank you so much for really reaching out. And I think for me personally, what is the most important thing is that you obviously insist on being inclusive as well. So no one is left behind, and I think having microbit as a tool to do that, to bring people together and not to leave anyone behind is a fantastic thing. Setuju, Cikgu Azrul?
Ya, betul-betul.
Okay, Cikgu Azrul, I want to get into this whole microbit champion thing pula. Tadi dah dengar pasal perkataan champion ni, saya dah seronok dah. Boleh Cikgu Azrul kongsikan tak bagaimana Cikgu dengan doktor boleh dipilih menjadi community lead di Malaysia? Apa kriteria dia, bagaimana dari segi pendaftaran atau application, ada tak yuran yang perlu dibayar oleh seseorang, perlukah mereka mestikah mereka seorang cikgu ataupun tidak, dan adakah ini tertakluk kepada negara Malaysia saja ataupun microbit champion ni di serata dunia? Boleh Cikgu Azrul berikan sedikit penjelasan?
Ya, Assalamualaikum. Okay, untuk microbit champion, sebenarnya kita dah mula pada tahun lepas, 2021. Masa tu dia ada application dia keluar dalam microbit.org. Jadi kita boleh tengok kat situ. Sebenarnya apa yang dicari di microbit champion adalah dia nak cari bukan sahaja cikgu, tapi pensyarah-pensyarah universiti, sebab dalam microbit champion ni dia adalah worldwide dan dibahagikan kepada negara-negara seperti APEC, apa ni, Middle East, macam itulah. Kita ikut zone sebabnya bila kita dah keluar nama, kita akan buat satu meeting. Biasanya meeting tu kita buat dua waktu. Ada waktu siang kita, ada waktu malam kita. Jadi kita pilihlah mana satu yang sesuai. Di situ kita berkongsi-kongsi pendapat bersama cikgu-cikgu dan pendidik di seluruh dunia. Masa tu memang seronok lah. Kita boleh tahu contoh di Brazil, apa yang berlaku di Brazil. Lepas tu di Amerika, apa yang berlaku di Amerika. Di Australia, apa yang berlaku. Jadi di situ kita boleh kongsi dan kita boleh share dengan pelajar kita. Okay, untuk microbit champion, untuk jadi microbit champion, dia sebenarnya dia lebih kepada kita suka share kita punya knowledge. Macam saya biasanya saya share saya punya kelas dalam Facebook, dalam Twitter. Jadi orang lain boleh tengok lah. Jadi mungkin daripada situ bila kita tengok, bila penilai tengok, okey kita punya apa ni sharing tu boleh membantu microbit lebih berkembang. Daripada situ, okay, lepas tu untuk menjadi champion league biasanya dipilih oleh APEC lah. Macam kami di Malaysia, APEC yang akan pilih. Dia akan tengok mana-mana cikgu di kawasan APEC ni yang involve dengan perkongsian. Biasanya perkongsian lah. Jadi dia akan offer untuk kita menjadi champion league. Dan untuk membantu bukan setakat cikgu-cikgu di tempat kita, tapi di seluruh Malaysia dan juga di serata dunia lah, untuk membantu dalam untuk memperkenalkan microbit kepada tak kisah bermula daripada sekolah rendah sehinggalah ke universiti. Itulah yang daripada saya.
Saya ada soalan tambahan, Cikgu Azrul. Cikgu Azrul tadi ada menceritakan pasal sesi-sesi perkongsian ya di antara educators ataupun cikgu-cikgu daripada negara lain, contohnya Brazil, Uruguay, Mexico, USA, United Kingdom dan sebagainya. Pendapat cikgu bila cikgu ataupun doktor bersama-sama dalam sesi itu dan mendengar perkongsian daripada mereka, boleh tak cikgu bagi sedikit idea dari segi status Malaysia dengan negara lain tu, dari segi penggunaan microbit dan sebagainya? Adakah kami jauh berbeza, kami masih main catch up, ataupun kami berada di tangga yang atas, dan you know, mungkin ramai yang melihat apa yang kita lakukan di sini dan jadikan ia sebagai satu contoh kepada negara mereka juga?
Okey, untuk Microbit Champion League, kalau kita tengok dekat website Microbit, kita ada 2 orang dekat Malaysia. Okey, kenapa 2 orang? Sebabnya silibus RBT darjah 5 dan darjah 6 telah dimasukkan Microbit ke dalam silibus tersebut. Jadi kita berada di tahap yang orang lain duk tengok. Negara-negara lain duk tengok macam mana Malaysia buat. Sebabnya kita berada dari segi microbit, kita punya penggunaan agak tinggilah dekat Malaysia daripada negara-negara lain. Negara-negara lain banyak program microbit macam ni dia masuk dalam kelab atau persatuan. Lebih kurang macam itulah. Dalam kelas dia tak banyak sangat, dia ada pun tak semeluas kita lah. Jadi kalau untuk disebabkan bila dah masuk dalam silibus ni, kita punya penggunaan microbit agak tinggilah. Jadi banyaklah negara, terutama sekali negara-negara Indonesia, Thailand, dia dah mula tengok dah kita punya silibus. Itulah.
Sebenarnya Cikgu Azrul rendah diri ya, dia malu nak bagi tahu Malaysia ni ada 2 champion ni sebab dua-dua dia tak dapat dipisahkan. Dia dua-dua tu terlalu baik. Dia kena pilih juga. Doktor dengan Cikgu Azrul tu memang kena ada dekat dalam champion, microbit champion tu. Okay, I want to speak briefly about the very popular global competition that Microbit runs yearly. Do Your Bit. I'm made to understand that historically Malaysian teams, Malaysian schools across age groups tak kisah dia dalam kelompok age group yang mana, does very well in the competition. Can you walk us through a little bit of the process of getting involved down to how the teams actually compete, Doctor?
All right. Okay. Thanks, Andrew. So, Do Your Bit challenge. At first, it's not a very, I would say, get a good response from the students from Malaysia. But Alhamdulillah, with this work from the microbeat champions, not just us, we have more than this, it's getting more and more participation. We have started, as for me personally, I have started to encourage since last year, since the first time we have been as the microbeat champion, promoting this Do Your Big Challenge to schools. And last year, I've been mentoring with other friends and my students as well as their facilitators. 3 participants from SMK Chukai. Okay, that is the only school that I approached. I would say that is my experiment school for this Do Your Big Challenge. And then Alhamdulillah, last year, for your information, we have several regions, as mentioned by Cikgu Azrul before. For the APAC region, the participation for 2021 is about 100 something, as what been told by Mr. Waris. And we have 2 categories. The first category is from 8 to 14 years old.
8
and the
to
second
14.
category and the second category is from 15 to 18 years old. All right. Okay. So bear in mind, how does this competition implement? The first thing is you don't have to be physically existed at Microbeat Educational Foundation. Obviously, in UK, you can be everywhere around Malaysia, in fact, from your home. Second, you don't really need to have the physical microbeat for you to enter the competition. Yeah, we have these options in which you can submit only the hex file, which is the coding file, and show the simulation and just explain the idea through the video if you want to do with the video, or else just submit your coding in hex file and the simulation and the idea written. Second option is that for those like 8 years old students that feel like not so confident in competing, like real competition, you can only submit your brief idea, scratching on a paper with a pen or a pencil. That's it. Okay, so we plan to use this microbeat, draw the microbeat board. So this is our invention. Put microbeat here, microbeat will do this and that. That's number 2. As easy as that. And next is to the highest level. For those students feel confident to compete in, you can submit the video showing your innovation or invention using the microbeat, taking the video of whatever you are doing with the microbeat, showing the input, showing the output, and explaining the problem that you're trying to solve based on the SDG. Every year we got SDG to try to tackle. And last year, for the first time, for the APAC, Asia and Pacific region, you have to understand we have Singapore, we have China, Taiwan, all those big countries in coding, Australia, under this APAC category. SMK Chukai managed to win for the first time representing Malaysia. Yeah, under the 15 to 18 years category.
Tanya.
Yeah, that's for us was unbelievable winning, because this is the first time for both of us, for the mentor and for the students as well. And for this year competition, Do Your Big Challenge, from Malaysia alone, we have participation. From last time, we have 100 something, I think 80 or 200 something. 2022, we managed to have 300 plus.
Wow.
Participation only from Malaysia. I would say like that's triple times increasing compared to last year. Yeah. And for me, personally, I managed to go to several schools, promoting them, ask the teacher, okay, I'll be your mentor, just come up with the idea, I'll help you everywhere I can. So from Kemaman, we have the participation from SMK Chukai again, Sekolah Menengah Agama Al-Falah, and Ikhlas International School. So from these three schools, I been there with my student as the facilitator. I just mentoring them, showing them what to do this and that. And Alhamdulillah, for this year, again, SMK Chukai won for 2 years in a row, different students from similar school under the category of 15 to 18 years old with the title Animals for Sea. And next is we have new winner. We haven't have the winner from 8 to 14 years old, which is Jared. Somewhere from SJKC, I forgot the name of the school, somewhere in Penang, if I'm not mistaken, Penang or Perak. So Jared is the first winner for 8 to 14 years old. And then we have another runner-up winner for 15 to 18 years category, which is from Sekolah Menengah Agama Al-Falah, Alhamdulillah, with the title Back Posture. Jared come out with the invention of Imam. What Jared do is, I like Jared's idea because she's so small, but this idea is so vast. Like the idea is Imam. So during the online classes, this Imam gadget will monitor the eye distance from the monitor, the student's eye distance from the monitor, the ambient light, is it okay for the eyes of the students? Let the student know, and we'll remind the students to rest every few hour for them to take a rest. So that is Jared's idea. So I would say that is interesting. And for SMK Cukai, the idea is Animal 4C. This is the genuine idea, as was been mentioned, due to this originality, the locality problem in which the problem always occurs in Greek highway or Greek road, which is the elephant always across, and it's dangerous, endangered the elephant, endangered the drivers as well. So this student came out with this invention, and that is one of the major factor that won in the competition. I think the originality and the locality of the idea. So
amazing.
Okay, a bit, Andrew. Every year, this Do Your Bit challenge will be open, I think, from January or February until July. So we have like 6 or 7 months of preparation. For you guys, I really need as many participation from all the students from Malaysia for 2023. Okay.
Listening to all that from Doctor and hearing all the champions that we have from the Malaysian schools and whatnot, and 300 participation for last year. Jadi tahun depan tu kita nak 600 lah sekurang-kurangnya. Okay, and we will help. Synapse will help you to see how we can churn this out together as well, and get as many participation as possible. This is fantastic. A lot of these don't get into mainstream media in terms of mainstream news, but it's really fantastic what our kids and our students, our teachers in schools are doing. So, now we know di sebalik tabir tu, Doktor dengan Cikgu Azrul ni banyak membantu community, community microbit untuk melaksanakan all these activities and programs and learning as well. So it's fantastic. I want to move on to the next thing, but chat box tu dah panas. Ada banyak soalan. So nak tanya sedikit. Either one of you perhaps can help to answer the first question. Microbit dengan Maker Uno dengan Arduino ni, apa beza dia?
Okay, alright. Can I answer the question?
Boleh.
Okay, so Microbit and Maker Uno, I did write a book on my Arduino as well. Okay. Alright. In Malay as well. Alright. So what is the difference between Microbit and Arduino? If you ask my personal opinion as a higher education lecturer, I mean technically we teach the subject in university. I'm not promoting any of this. Bear in mind, because that's why I'm showing those 2 books I'm writing, because not to be interested in any one of this. But if you ask me in terms of suitability, because Microbit, we have this option of the block programming and as well the Python as well. Arduino Uno is basically we teach Arduino using Arduino in higher education, starting from matriculation, foundation, up to like diploma students. Okay, Uno is the type of Arduino. Uno is the basic Arduino we have in the market. We have ESP, we have so many numbers of Arduino, but Uno is the very basic. I do know that we have this Arduino in terms of block language as well that we can do in Tinkercad. Cikgu Azrul is going to show Tinkercad after this. But in terms the function, the block function, coding function is quite limited. And the student really needs to understand all those analog and digital pin. A and D, you have to understand this. I think that is too much for the student to start with because we have so many pin as compared to Microbit. If that from that personal point of view with dealing with my students in university, with this primary and secondary student. If you want to attract the student into coding, into programming, I strongly believe we have to make it interesting. In a
Right.
way, when I'm saying interesting, it's easy to learn, it's easy to get. So my point of view, again, it's my personal point of view, I will go with microbit for that particular option.
Thank you, Doctor. There was also a follow-up question to that. A teacher is baru-baru ni sahaja bermula mengajar RBT di tahun 6. Of course di luar bandar sekolah dia. Jadi dia nak tanya, using make code software as per suggested by the textbook tu susah sikit. Ada tak mana-mana software offline yang boleh dipakai selain daripada M-Block ataupun Scratch? Sebab dia kata student mereka memang susah nak faham, susah nak pakai ataupun susah nak faham. So any comment on that?
Okay, sebenarnya microbit tu kita boleh download, ada yang download. Kita boleh download saja microbit tu ke dalam komputer dan kita akan guna secara offline. Jadi bolehlah. Kalau contohnya terutama sekali kalau sekolah-sekolah di luar bandar yang internet dia susah sikit lah, mungkin slow. Jadi saya galakkan kita download microbit ke dalam komputer.
Download microbit ke dalam komputer
Download saja. Jadi kita boleh guna lah walaupun tanpa ada internet, kita boleh guna.
Dan mungkin saya juga syorkan mungkin pada masa yang akan datang ni mungkin doktor ataupun Cikgu Azrul mungkin boleh buat satu jelajah Borneo dan mengajar tenaga pengajar di sana, all the educators dan cikgu-cikgu di sana bagaimana cara-cara dan tips-tips untuk mengajar microbit. Saya rasa yang tu perlulah untuk masa depan. Yang tu kita cerita offline. Cikgu Azrul turut ada kaedah di mana do your bit boleh dilaksanakan tanpa menggunakan microbit. Yang tu tadi ada doktor ada cerita sikit, Cikgu Azrul pun ada cerita sikit pasal tanpa menggunakan microbit. Apa maksud cikgu di sana, di sini? Cikgu saya rasa cikgu ada a sample what you call video tu tunjuk mungkin cikgu boleh teruskan.
Okay, baiklah untuk microbit. Kalau kita tengok kat sini ini saya menggunakan Tinkercad. Yang mana kalau contohnya kita dalam kelas kita microbit tak cukup. Jadi kita nak juga pelajar-pelajar guna microbit dan juga kita akan guna macam ni. Okay, biasanya kita dah ada wire macam ni, tapi kita macam mana kita nak guna pada pelajar. Terutama sekali kalau hari pertama kita nak perkenalkan contohnya LED. Macam mana nak sambung LED? Macam mana nak sambung transistor? Okay, jadi untuk memudahkan kita, biasanya sebelum kelas saya akan guna Tinkercad dulu untuk masukkan. Okay, mungkin ada cikgu-cikgu yang pernah guna sebab Tinkercad ni kita boleh guna untuk Arduino dan microbit. Okay, ni contoh kalau saya start simulation ni. Bila saya tekan A ni, nampak kita punya LED ni akan nyala. Jadi di sini kita boleh tengok dekat mana positif, negatif. Dan bila saya tekan B, dia akan off. Okay, ni adalah microbit secara offline, secara bukan fizikal, dan kita boleh gunakan yang ni juga untuk kita guna sebagai penghantaran microbit do your bit. Kita boleh guna simulation yang ni, kita boleh record screen, kita boleh tunjuklah contohnya tekan A apa yang berlaku, tekan B apa yang berlaku, kita boleh tambah lagi dengan yang lain yang ada kat sini. Okay, saya tunjuk dulu contoh macam mana kita nak guna dekat sini. Okay, mungkin ada yang pernah guna Tinkercad. Okay, di sini bila kita masuk, kita akan pergi dekat new circuit ni. Okay, untuk yang demo yang lain, saya dah letak dalam komputer, dalam web ni. Jadi kita boleh tengoklah macam mana demo-demo yang lain. Ada lagi saya punya YouTube dalam ni. Okay, contoh dia kalau kita nak guna microbit, kita cuma masukkan microbit ke sini. Okay, di sini kita boleh tukar color. Kalau microbit kita ada banyak-banyak warna. Dia ada yellow, green. Okay, ni contoh. Kalau kita tengok microbit yang sebenar. Kita tunjuk microbit yang sebenar. Yang saya punya ni, yang ini adalah warna yellow. Jadi kita boleh tukar lah. Warna yellow. Dia akan ikut warna kat sini lah. Yang ni pelajar-pelajar saya suka. Sebab dia boleh tukar color-color kat sini. Dan juga bila kita nak guna, kita nak perkenalkan LED. Jadi kita suruh pelajar masuk saja LED kat sini. Okay, lepas tu macam mana kita nak buat penyambungan. Penyambungan biasanya kalau dekat kelas, biasanya saya tengok dekat kelas-kelas dia menggunakan alligator clip ataupun clip buaya. Jadi kita boleh cuba lah. Okay, kita suruh minta pelajar guna alligator clip. Okay, masukkan ni adalah enak dengan kereta. Contoh dia tersilap pasang. Contohnya dia pasang dekat ground ni. Sini kita boleh tukar color. Kalau kita nak, kita pergi sini. Macam ni. Jadi kita boleh tukar color. Contohnya ni red. Macam ni lah lebih kurang. Jadi kalau kita dah tengok betul tak penggunaan dia, kita boleh pergi kat code, kita boleh guna button ni. Kita saya guna button A, pergi ke button A ni. Dan kita akan ambil output dia. Outputnya kita nak bagi. Jadi kita menggunakan pin kosong. Jadi kita boleh bagi tahu lah dia untuk microbit kalau yang biasa kita ada pin kosong hingga 2. Yang ini untuk elektrik. Yang ini untuk ground. Jadi kita cuba. Boleh tak? Jadi saya akan masukkan yang ni. Ini contoh lah. Bila button A, bila saya tekan button A, dia akan nyala. Kita tengok. Bila saya start simulation, yang ni biasanya keluar. Tak ada masalah. Yang ni kita boleh sebab dia untuk microbit dia ada sensor. Okey, yang ni adalah sensor suhu. Yang ni sensor cahaya. Ini kemudian lah. Kita tengok. Okay, contohnya bila saya tekan A, nampak dia tak nyala. Okay, disebabkan oleh kita punya penyambungan ni tak berjaya. Salah penyambungan. Jadi kita boleh bagi tahu kepada pelajar kenapa tak berjaya. Jadi kita cuba tukar penyambungan dia. Kita cuba tukar penyambungan dia. Okay, yang ni kita akan pergi ke ground. Yang ni kita akan pergi ke biasanya saya tukar color lah untuk membezakan color dia. Okay, jadi kita tengok dia balik dekat kod ni. Okay, P kosong. Okay, jadi bila saya start simulation, kita tengok. Bila tekan A, nampak dia akan nyala. Okay, bila dia nyala macam ni, dia akan bagi tahu ada benda ni. Okay, kenapa benda ni? Sebabnya bila kita masuk direct dengan LED, kemungkinan voltage dia berlebih. Mungkin LED kita akan rosak. Jadi kita boleh bagi tahu pada pelajar apa solution dia. Kenapa boleh jadi macam ni? Jadi solution dia kita menggunakan perintah. Jadi bila kita boleh masukkan perintah kat sini, dia akan kuranglah sikit voltage yang masuk. Ini adalah salah satu daripada cara. Kini menggunakan apa ni Tinkercad. Okay, satu lagi yang saya hantar pada pelajar itu, kami menggunakan makecode. Jadi contoh yang pelajar buat. Okay, yang ni kami buat sebagai untuk menghantar Do Your Big Challenge, iaitu dia buat personal coaching. Okay, contoh dia bila dia tekan button A ni, dia akan tengok kat sini. Dia akan gerakkan tangan. Okay, bila tekan B, apa yang berlaku pula? Okay, jadi pelajar-pelajar boleh guna benda macam ni untuk menghantar Do Your Big Challenge tanpa perlu ada physical microbit. Okay, yang ni pun juga dia boleh refresh untuk tukar color. Color microbit ni dalam makecode kita boleh refresh lah. Ni contoh kalau tekan AB. Jadi contohlah, ni dia bergerak. Jadi kita boleh, sambil-sambil kita suruh pelajar masuk Do Your Big, kita boleh ajar penggunaan function. Ni contoh saya ajar penggunaan function, repeating. Kita boleh ajar serentak sekali dan juga macam mana kita nak call function tu. Jadi dalam 2-in-1 lah. Dan juga kita boleh tukar kepada Python. Contohnya kalau cikgu-cikgu nak guna Python, boleh tukar terus kepada Python pun boleh. Jadi boleh tengoklah. Dan juga JavaScript. Biasanya untuk tingkatan 1, biasanya saya guna blok dahulu untuk memperkenalkan kepada pelajar. Okay, jadi kita boleh record yang ni. Untuk record kita boleh perbesarkan ni, kita boleh record hasil pelajar. Jadi yang tu dia boleh masuk dalam makecode. Dan satu lagi yang diberitahu tadi adalah untuk offline. Okay, yang ni adalah makecode secara offline. Kita boleh download untuk Windows dan juga untuk Mac. Jadi bila kita download ni, kita boleh install lah dekat kita punya komputer. Makecode ni. Jadi tak perlulah kita nak gunakan yang online. Jadi bila kita install nanti, dia akan install dalam kita punya komputer dan kita boleh guna teruslah kita punya ni. Okey, itu saja. Untuk selebihnya boleh tengok balik dalam website apa ni, start ni, kat sini ni dekat kita masuk ni, boleh tengok kat situ. Ada saya letak tutorial, beberapa tutorial kat situ dalam YouTube, sama macam YouTube saya. Dalam saya punya channel pun ada. Okey, yang ni pengenalan asas ni. Ada jugalah. Dia boleh tengoklah macam mana penggunaan apa ni, servo, asas servo kita boleh guna. Bolehlah cuba nanti. Terutama sekali untuk sekolah-sekolah yang mungkin mikrobit dia tak cukup dan mungkin dia nak memperkenalkan dulu sebelum dia masuk dalam mikrobit yang sebenar. Okey, itu sajalah perkongsian saya untuk demo ni.
Terima kasih Cikgu Azrul. Dan sebenarnya video-video yang ditunjukkan oleh Cikgu Azrul sebentar tadi juga terdapat di dalam platform MyDigitalMaker melalui laman sesawang synapsemy.com/mydigitalmakereast. Jadi terus ke sana sekiranya anda sedang menonton siaran ini melalui Facebook My Digital Maker, My Digital Maker Fair ataupun daripada Facebook Synapse. Semuanya ada di bahagian auditorium. Cikgu Azrul telah berkongsikan banyak video untuk adik-adik ataupun cikgu-cikgu untuk memahami dengan lebih mendalam mengenai microbit. Terima kasih banyak-banyak Cikgu Azrul. Seronok saya tengok begitu pun saya rasa sayang. Macam nak balik ke sekolah pula nak belajar microbit ni. Okey, Cikgu Azrul tadi dah juga ada bercerita mengenai perancangan dan program-program yang seterusnya akan berlaku, contohnya di My Digital Maker Fair Zon Utara. Bagaimana pula dengan Doktor? Doktor, in the next maybe 6 months, what are your plans, especially specifically towards microbit? Anything happening?
Okay, besides, as what I always did, go down to school and assist all the teachers and students, inshallah I'll be coming with new books this December, a publication with Dewan Bahasa dan Pustaka as well, tutorial asas animasi bersama Scratch 3.0, version 1 and version 2. As for you guys and information, Scratch is also co-partner and co-collaboration with Microbit. So in fact, you can do coding, combining the Scratch with the microbit things. So inshallah this December, this book will come out. And next year, another 2 books about microbit, again with Dewan Bahasa dan Pustaka. I got invitation from Dewan Bahasa dan Pustaka to produce this buku sokongan for microbit. Together like this Scratch as well. Inshallah next year, another 2 books regarding microbit will come out with Dewan Bahasa dan Pustaka. But stay tuned for this December Scratch books. It's written in Malay. It's specifically written for all the teachers out there. And we do it, the explanation of the books is easy to understand. It's not about like so many wording. It's straight to the point. This step 1, step 2, step 3, and you guys can explore so many possibilities of Scratch. And after that, mastering the Scratch, you can then integrate the Scratch with microbit. So I think that's all. And I really hope all the teachers out there, especially from East Malaysia, the more Borneo people, please reach out to me. If you have anything to ask or you want me to do webinar, even if I can fly there, I can fly technologically, virtually to you guys out there. So please reach out to me anytime you feel like asking me or whatever. All right?
Doctor, before I let you go as well, there will be a last question. But before that, where can I get those books? Those that has already been launched. The 2 books that you were holding earlier as well.
Okay, so these 2 books you can access from Dewan Bahasa dan Pustaka, DBP Niaga. Right, DBP Niaga. Just go there. I'm not sure whether microbit is still in stock, but before this, Citron as well is one of the those reseller who sell this book. But you can check either on DBP Niaga or Citron, and I do have sort of look this book sold at Shopee as well. So please check around. Okay,
bagus. And of course, post this session, we will also share those details that you have just shared as well, and as well as how people can get in touch with you, ya. Cikgu Azrul, mungkin any perkongsian dari segi harapan cikgu ataupun hala tuju yang ingin dilihat dari aspek pendidikan, terutama pendidikan digital. Cikgu Azrul boleh berikan sedikit pandangan dan komen?
Okay, untuk sekarang ni kita dah menghala ke IR 4.0 dan seterusnya 5.0. Jadi seelok-eloknya pelajar daripada sekolah rendah dah mula involve lah dengan terutama sekali yang berjenis robotik macam ni lah. Sebabnya kalau kita tengok kemungkinan pekerjaan yang akan datang banyak akan melibatkan komponen-komponen ni. Jadi bila pelajar daripada sekolah rendah dah mula tahu, dah mula explore, jadi sekurang-kurangnya bila dia dah pergi ke universiti dan dia masuk ke pasaran pekerjaan, dia dah tahu dah apa hala tuju dia. Itu yang penting lah. Sekarang ni kita cuba untuk bagi pelajar-pelajar mula tu. Jadi saya tengok subjek RBT tu dah menarik untuk pelajar-pelajar mula explore, dan juga disambung pula dengan RBT sekolah menengah. Dan mungkin dekat universiti nanti dia lebih menjerumuslah kepada alam pekerjaan dah. Dan juga ni lah, terutama sekali untuk pelajar-pelajar di kawasan luar bandar. Itu yang ni lah. Sebabnya kadang-kadang tu kalau kita pergi ke kawasan luar bandar, saya pernah pergi sekolah di Pus Belau, di Gua Musang, memang facilities dia agak susah lah. Jadi kesian kepada pelajar-pelajar tu bila dia mula ke sekolah menengah, dia jadi macam kata shock sikit. Jadi mungkinlah kita bekerjasama dengan kementerian untuk explore pelajar-pelajar ni daripada laut luar bandar dan juga bandar sendiri lah. Sebab bandar pun ada juga, terutama sekali yang miskin bandar tu pun ada juga. Jadi mungkinlah kita boleh buat usaha sama dengan, terutama sekali dengan company-company dan juga dengan kementerian, mungkin dengan MARA, untuk kita pergi ke sekolah-sekolah di kawasan-kawasan, mungkin kita boleh buat camp macam tu lah.
Okay.
Itu saja daripada saya.
Baik. Doctor, what about you? Any last words? I know we spoke very briefly about rural development in terms of education.
Okay, rural is very at heart for me lah, because I've seen, like Cikgu Azrul, I've been there, seen all these difficulty faced by the students. But one thing they are not lacking, even if they are lacking in terms of facility, their spirits and their level of IQ is not left behind. They have this at par, in fact, sometimes most outstanding compared to those students with easy access. So I really hope that we can do something. For example, after this, we can collaborate with Synapse or other organizations that feel like we are on the same pace in making sure all students on rural area with so many lacking in facilities, so that they can stand at par, stand with all the students with the same access with the urban students, and prove that they can do better if they have these similar facilities with them. So I really hope that this will be our most agenda after this.
Yep.
We will collaborate and working together in reaching this objective, hopefully.
I think that's a lovely way to end the session, Doctor. Saya mewakili Synapse dan juga pihak MDEC ingin merakamkan jutaan terima kasih tak terhingga kepada Doktor dan juga Cikgu Azrul kerana sudi meluangkan masa pada pagi ini untuk memberikan perkongsian yang sangat bermanfaat ni. Dekat dalam chat group pun ramai yang sedang menonton tu memang diorang suka juga. Jadi sebentar sahaja lagi pada jam 11 pagi kami akan bersama-sama dengan Pat Yong Pradit, who is the Chief Academic Officer of Code.org, and he will be sharing with us about this great global movement as well, known as Hour of Code. If you want to know more, do stay tuned and catch his session. Until we meet again, Dr. and Cikgu Azrul, I wish you all the best. I wish you all the success with all your students as well, and of course with the new book launch as well, Doctor, in December. Hopefully everything goes well. And this is it from me. Signing off. Salam keluarga Malaysia. Terima kasih. Bye bye.
Salam, everyone. My name is Pat Jan Pradit, and I'm Code.org's Chief Academic Officer. I'm very happy to be talking to you today. I want to thank MDEC for inviting me to participate in this year's My Digital Maker Fair. It's been an honor for us to work closely with the MDEC team for the past several years as an official Code.org international partner. Code.org is the organizer of the Global Hour of Code movement. The Hour of Code is designed to give anyone a 1-hour introduction to computer science to show that anybody can learn the basics of computer science. And ultimately, we want everyone to participate in the field of computer science. MDEC has taken the lead on organizing Hour of Code events in Malaysia since 2017. And we've featured some of the pictures from those events on the homepage of the Hour of Code website. In 2017, the Hour of Code in Malaysia was even awarded the highest participation in coding by the Malaysia Book of Records. Thank you to MDEC and the My Digital Maker partners for working so diligently to expand access to this important subject. And thank you to the students, teachers, parents, and everyone else participating in the events today. Now I'm going to go through my presentation, which is about computer science, the curriculum of the future. So let's start off with what Code.org looks like in Malaysia. Right now, there are 230,000 students and 7,500 teachers with Code.org accounts in Malaysia. And what I want to do is talk about why those students and teachers chose computer science and why you too should be choosing computer science and working with us, Code.org. So these are my students from AP Computer Science class at Springbrook High School in Silver Spring, Maryland in 2013. AP Computer Science was an advanced computer science class at the time. And this class represented everything I was trying to achieve in computer science at this school. You see, I had been working at the school for 8 years and building this program the entire time. And this program, this class represents the culmination of all the things that I was doing. It's a class that's an upper level class, and there are different students in it from different ages, different races, different genders. And all these students loved computer science. And this was not just the only advanced class. There was actually 2 extra levels of computer science after this. And I showed this picture just to remind everyone that everything that we do in computer science is about engaging students and giving them a different future, a future where they can do amazing things that have never been done before. It's also about changing students' lives. And I want to talk about one student in particular. His name is Neiman. Neiman is the guy right in the middle. And Neiman connected with me on LinkedIn, which is a professional networking site, many years after he graduated from high school. And he talked to me about his experience after joining the military, learning about cybersecurity, and then getting a job. And I told him how proud I was of him and his where he's gone with his future. And he shared with me how significant it was for him to have an experience in computer science. Teachers, parents, I want you to know that this is what you're doing for your students and for your kids by introducing them to computer science. You're giving them an opportunity that most of us didn't have when we were young. And you're giving them the skills to prepare themselves for the future. Our vision at Code.org that every student in every school has the opportunity to learn computer science. Eventually, what this means is that teachers are trained and school districts adopt computer science so that all students can learn computer science. And that means every student, because we believe that computer science is foundational. And so at Code.org, we do 4 things. We create curriculum that's free, and our curriculum is actually translated into Malay. We train teachers. We promote computer science. And we do policy work at the Ministry of Education level. Now I want to share with you a vision for computer science, now that you've gotten to know code.org a little bit. And I want to situate this vision for computer science in Malaysia. So let's talk about a girl named Noor. Noor, at 8 years old, because of computer science, she learns that computers are not just a fun toy or a place to play games or watch YouTube videos. Computers are a creative tool, something that she can use to create stories and animations and games, her own games. And then at 13 years old, because of computer science education, Noor creates programs for a variety of her subjects. It could be science, it could be math, it could also be language. Then at 18 years old, because of computer science and computer science education, Noor is able to address and solve issues in her community. Maybe she makes a website for a cousin's restaurant, or maybe she is able to create an app for her for a local club. And so because of all that, Noor actually decided to get a minor in computer science at college level and graduate. And you would think that maybe she became a programmer. And actually, she didn't become a programmer because she actually also majored in fashion design. That's right. So Noor didn't actually become a programmer at the end. And that's actually fine because you know what? Noor learned that she had a passion in fashion design as well and applied all of the computer science learning she got, even at the college level, to her passion in fashion design, and was able to make an LED lit up dress for as part of her fashion design experience. And so she was able to apply computer science to fashion design. And that's what we want to see for all students. They don't have to all become software engineers and programmers. They should be applying computer science to whatever field, career, or interest they have. So how does computer science benefit students? Well, studies have shown that students who learn programming do better on tests for creativity, mathematical skills, metacognition, that's like reflective thinking, spatial skills, and even reasoning skills. So it has a variety of benefits beyond just learning computer science. Here's an example of a tie-in between math and computer science. And here, a student is figuring out how to register that a green rectangle and a red rectangle are touching one another. And you actually do this understanding the coordinate plane and different corners and width and height of these shapes. And so if you use an algorithm like this, you can have the computer determine whether two things are touching. And this is a very important an important algorithm in very simple video games. And so here you see the very deep mathematical and geometry connection to computer science. And this is where where math can really come alive. Here is an example of students just learning sequential thinking, just by getting a character to go to another character. And this is like using the famous Angry Birds characters from the famous game and now movie as well. And so by putting these instructions together in sequence, young kids learn how to create an algorithm. And so there are a bunch of creative benefits for computer science as well. It's not just math, and it's not just sequential thinking and things like that. It's also fun and engaging. You can create stories and animations just like these that you see on the screen right now. So what do teachers think about programming? Well, we have some quotes from teachers who have attended Code.org's workshops and use Code.org curriculum. So the first teacher says that the smiles on children's faces show their joy and increase self-esteem during coding lessons. And yes, students build a lot of self-esteem when they're trying to fix their code and and finally when they get it to work. Because in coding, things don't work, and then you can fix them quickly and then see how they work, and you can do this and repeat them over and over again, and kids really build like this self-confidence because of that type of iteration. And one autistic student in particular, this teacher says that this autistic student is relatively nonverbal and doesn't speak, but then was giggling with excitement because of the ability to create something with code. And this student was even asking questions. So it's really amazing. And in fact, studies show that students with learning disabilities are quite interested in computer science and do very well. Another teacher said, I stopped to chat with one of my female students, and she said, I can't believe it. I don't like video games at all. And I thought this class was going to be awful, but I love it. Coding is so much fun. And that's true. It really, just by getting kids to code, it really changes their perspective about technology when they're able to create it and not just like play things. This other teacher says, I really enjoyed the AI unit, the artificial intelligence unit. It was thoughtful and approachable. It changed my mind as to when I should introduce this concept to my student. And what this teacher thought was that, artificial intelligence, that's just for older kids. Well, in this case, he was introducing it at a much younger age, and students really understood it and got it. So you can teach even advanced concepts like artificial intelligence to young kids, and you should. The particular tutorial here is called AI for Oceans, and I'll be talking about that later. AI for Oceans is also translated into Malay. So I have advice for some school leaders. I know school leaders, you're in the audience, and thank you again for doing what you do and for supporting computer science. Here are my 5 tips for teaching computer science. And I want to start off with number 1, identifying a teacher champion. So school leaders, if your school isn't teaching computer science right now, all you have to do is find one teacher to start and get them trained. MDEC has a lot of trainings that teachers can attend, and you can send your teacher to MDEC, and they can attend workshops and even learn about the code.org courses. On code.org website, you'll also find self-paced online professional learning modules for each of our courses, where teachers don't have to go to an in-person workshop. They can just go through a self-paced course to learn about the course that they want to teach. And that goes with all of our courses. Another piece of advice for school leaders is to create opportunities to teach CS in the curriculum. And so you don't have to just create an independent computer science course. You can create room in other subjects to teach computer science. And again, here's an example of learning about math and coordinates and in the context of creating a video game. So you can create opportunities to teach computer science across multiple subjects. School leaders, you should also actively dispel stereotypes in order to involve all students. This is called being inclusive. Now, when people think about a computer programmer, they often think about a picture like you see right here on the right. And not all computer programmers look like that. And lots of computer programmers look very different. So it's very important to actively dispel stereotypes in order to involve all students, so that all students feel like they can belong in computer science. Number 4, as a school leader, you should create a plan to teach computer science to all students. And not just offer it and teach maybe 25, 30 kids a year, but really, how do you teach it to all students so that they can all have the experience? And lastly, school leaders, you should communicate your vision to parents, guardians, and family members. Basically, you should let them know that computer science is being offered at your school and that you want all your students to participate in it. I have advice for teachers as well. So my advice for teachers, starting with number 1, start early. So start at a very young age in order for students to not just build up their skills so that they can create cool things, but they can have fun right from the beginning and feel like they belong in computer science and not wait till later. Studies show that if you introduce computer science at a young age, you will get more participation, obviously, later on, because a lot of students won't already develop stereotypes where they feel like only certain types of kids should be in computer science. And in fact, at a young age, you have the same interest between girls and boys. That changes later on. We want that to be different. You have to start at a young age. This is a picture of students who actually are learning about a computer science concept, but without a computer. And what they did was created the letter G on the floor, and they learned about pixels and coordinates and how how a monitor works, how graphics work for computers. And graphics are just numbers to computers, numbers for the colors, numbers for the position of the pixel, everything. So you don't even have to have a computer, and you can teach it to 5-year-olds. Another suggestion is to set an interesting context and purpose. And this is actually a video game created by the UN to talk about social issues, very serious social issues. When you set an interesting context and purpose, you are able to give a reason why students are doing computer science. So some students might not be as interested in just making something cool. They want to make something for a reason, a personal reason. For example, let's think about Muhammad. If Muhammad has cows on a farm, let's pretend that Muhammad is on a farm and Muhammad wants to organize the information about the cow. Well, Muhammad can create an app to track the cows on his farm. Let's imagine another purpose. Siti. Siti can create an app to organize the volunteers for her club. And this is an app that is very useful to her personally. So you can create things that go beyond just school projects or fun, but create things that are actually useful for your life. Number 3, you can do it in pairs. And so you don't have to be by yourself. With computer science, you can do this thing called pair programming. And with pair programming, 2 kids are at a computer. One person will type, the other person will talk and give ideas and maybe read off the instructions on a handout, and then they'll switch roles every maybe 10 minutes. And what this does is it creates collaboration among kids. You're not by yourself. You're able to help one another. And it's just more social than just being by yourself. This is called pair programming. There are actually videos about pair programming on the Code.org YouTube channel. Number 4, you can introduce coding through dance and make it physical. And in this picture, kids created an algorithm for a dance using blocks and made a character dance on the screen. And so you see the kids dancing according to the character that they coded to dance. So that's pretty cool. You can also connect computer science to other disciplines. In this case, this is an animation of the water cycle in science. Here is a picture of art using different shapes, and you can learn about geometry that way. And here is a historical animation about dinosaurs. So again, you can connect computer science to other disciplines. Rather than use PowerPoint for a presentation, you can use a program. So here are the next steps that I want you to consider in promoting computer science. So the first thing is you can start small and do an hour of code. A lot of the hour code activities are translated into multiple languages. And I already talked about dance party. So you can create a dance party with famous songs, but you can also learn about artificial intelligence and do an activity called AI for Oceans, which is, again, translated into Malay. And in this tutorial, students learn about training a model to identify fish in the ocean and not trash. And this AI, what it will do is it will clean up trash in the ocean, depending on how well you train it. And that's what actually happens with artificial intelligence. It uses data to be trained and to learn from that data. You can also teach full courses for computer science. And this is the URL for those courses. You can go to this website, Teach Computer Science Fundamentals, which again, this course is fully translated into Malay, and teach students between 15 and 20 hours of coding per course. And this goes from the youngest ages to ages all the way to like upper primary, lower secondary level. So in the end, I want to say to all of you, thank you for watching this presentation. I hope that I've convinced some of you, if you aren't familiar with computer science, as to the benefits of computer science and the steps to take in order to get involved. I invite you to join code.org and the 230,000 students and 7,500 teachers in Malaysia that are using code.org. Thank you.